Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, we're going to look at how to use ChatGPT for education purposes. I'm going to show you prompts that students can use to create virtual flashcards, how to get help with homework assignments, and how to break down complicated problems into simpler explanations that they can actually understand and learn at their own pace. How to use it to get like a one-on-one tutor. And this will be helpful for parents, students, and teachers to sort of help students out that may not learn it as quickly or the same way that everyone else does. And if you've got kids in your class that are sort of falling behind and need one-on-one tutoring, ChatGPT or any of the AI programs can be a great tool for that. I'm going to show you how to do that in this video. But before we do that, if you haven't done so yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up, and let's get started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use IT-based questions because that's what I'm a little more familiar with. You can use this for, say you're teaching 7th grade chemistry or 8th grade English, whatever the case may be, math, doesn't matter. You can use ChatGPT the same way to get the same sort of individual learning setup. So let's do this. So this is one way to prompt ChatGPT for a classroom type environment. I want to learn about networking for a class, but I don't understand the basics. I have a test coming up. Help me study. Show me the basics. Get harder if I get the question right. If I get the question wrong, then break it down to me like I'm 5 years old, the old Michael Scott trick, and then stick with that subject until I get the questions right. So let's go ahead and plug that in. All right, so it says, what does a LAN stand for? What is its primary function? I know that the answer to this is A, but let's go D just so I can show you what happens if I miss it. So, no worries. The correct answer is A, and it tells me what it actually stands for. And then it gives me a breakdown. Imagine you have a toy train set and only want to play with it in your living room. A LAN is like that train set. It lets computers talk to each other in a specific small area. This way they can share things like files and internet access. So then it says, it asks me the question again, and I can choose B for local area network this time. Question 2, what is an IP address? And then same thing, I know that the answer is B, so I'm going to choose C, internal postal address, and then it's going to break it down to me and make sure that I understand that concept. And then if I get the question right, we'll go to this. If I get the question right, we'll choose B for Internet Protocol. It's going to give me another question. And then let's see, the function of a router in a home network. I'm going to go ahead and choose B. That's right, so it should get a little bit harder now. What does DHCP stand for and what is its primary function? Go ahead and choose the correct answer there so we can see what happens. It gets a little harder. What is the firewall? It's a physical wall to protect hardware. If I keep choosing the right answer, it's going to continue to get harder. And now it tells me it looks like I've got a good grasp of the basics, ready to move on to do some more advanced topics. And you can do that with, like I said, chemistry, English, whatever the case may be. So let's do this. Create network related flashcards and whiz me. So now it's going to create the flashcard and it's going to show me basically what's on the card, LAN, IP address, router, and then the definition of each. And it's sort of the same way, it's giving me multiple choice. So I don't want multiple choice, I want it to actually function like a flashcard. So I'm going to say, I don't want multiple choice, just give me the definition and I'll enter the correct answer. Here we go, what does WAN stand for and what is its primary function? So if I do that, if I enter an answer there, it's going to be correct, and then it'll move on to the next question. So that's a fun way to use ChatGPT for flashcards. It's sort of helping you get ready for a quiz or learn definitions. So now it's broke down how to do decimals in math. It's given me how to do addition and subtraction, multiplication, and division. Let's say, give me a sample addition problem. So it's going to say add 3.46 plus 2.56. It's going to tell me how to add the numbers again. And it's even going to give me the answer here. So I'm going to say I don't understand, make it simpler. And then it even apologizes for being too complicated for my little brain. And then it's going to have you line the numbers up, and then it's going to have you line the numbers up, and it's going to have you work this again. And now it's going to break it down again, even simpler. And let's move on to our next subject. Let's look at learning another language. I want to learn Spanish. Teach me step by step. I don't know anything yet. So if you already know a little bit of Spanish, you can actually put that into the prompt. You can say, hey, I know basic greetings and a few words. and then it'll build this answer based on what you've told it that you already know. And another really cool thing that they've added, if you've got ChatGPT Plus and you have access to the mobile app, they've added the ChatGPT voice option so you can have conversations with it. ChatGPT, I'm trying to learn Spanish. Only respond in Spanish for me. Estaré encantado de ayudarte. ¿Por qué decidiste aprender español? So that's really cool. You can have full on conversations with ChatGPT. Interesting. All right. But yeah, you can have it break down. You can say, hey, how do I say hello friend in Spanish? Hello friend in Spanish. You could say, so to say hello friend in Spanish, you could say hola amigo or hola amiga. I guess if it's a lady. And obviously, this is just the very basics of how to use ChatGPT for language learning, but this is really cool and super interesting. So students are going to like this, teachers are not, but teachers, parents, this is the world we live in today. We were given calculators in math to make the work easier for us. We're given programs like ChatGPT and generative AI to help make everything else easier. I need to write a 3-page essay on the Civil War, and I want to specifically focus on what happened immediately after the war. Now, a lot of times you can look at something that's written by AI and you can, like, hey, that's wrote, you can tell immediately that's wrote by AI. So you can prompt it a little bit different. You could say, hey, tone it down, be less descriptive. Like, this clearly sounds like you're writing this as an AI. Make it sound like a human wrote it, and it'll actually like make adjustments, and you can keep tweaking it until you get something close to what you want, and then you can edit it and make your own changes. Another thing you can do is if you've wrote your own paper or your own essay, you can paste it into ChatGPT and say, hey, where can I make changes at? What doesn't make sense? Help me improve this essay. And it'll do that for you as well. So if I were to take this, I'm going to open a new chat. I'm going to paste it in, but at the bottom, I'm going to say, this sounds too much like an AI wrote it. How can I make it better? Please rewrite. And so now it's going to take the letter that the other conversation had and it's going to rewrite it to make it more engaging. It's going to add some vivid details. So then it's going to revise the essay for me. And you could do this all day long if you wanted to until you get exactly what you want. But it might be easier just to go in and sort of write your own essay in your own words. You could just write down your basic ideas about what you want to write about and then use ChatGPT to sort of fill in the gaps and make it longer. So what I've done here is I've typed create a prompt for ChatGPT that I can share with my class so that they can use ChatGPT to learn fractions. If you're an educator and you want to use ChatGPT in the classroom but you don't necessarily know how, what I've done is I've just typed create a prompt for ChatGPT that I can share with my class so that they can use ChatGPT to learn fractions. And then it's actually created a learning activity for me, and it's given me some prompts here that I can share with the class. Can you give me a practice problem about multiplying fractions? What are the differences between a proper and improper fraction? How do I add fractions with different denominators? Can you explain what a fraction is? From what I understand, and I have kids too that are doing it, but they've all got Chromebooks and things like that. I know a lot of schools have probably blocked ChatGPT. There's other options like Google Bard. It's just bard.google.com. And if I were to do the same thing here, teach me fractions. If I were to do the same thing in Google Bard, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to teach me fractions, and I can say, hey, break that down. Another cool thing that you can do with Google Bard is you can share and export. So I can share this public link. I can share this with the class, and so kids can copy and paste this link into their web browser, and then they'll have access to this answer it's generated, and they'll be able to pick up the conversation where I left off and have their own version of the conversation. So if you were to create your own prompt, say, hey, the assignment is learning how to do multiplication and fractions, you could create a prompt for that in Google Bard, create a public URL, and then you can share that with your class. And then they could all use that as sort of the lesson plan rather than reading or going through assignments and pages of workbooks to try to learn fractions. They could have a simplified breakdown, and they could have it quiz them themselves. And then if they get hung up on a certain spot, they can say, hey, I'm not understanding here. This is where I'm stuck at. And the AI will sort of do like a one-on-one coaching based on their learning level. It's going to make learning in the classroom so much simpler. I hope school boards haven't blocked access to these websites yet because they are great tools. If you're a parent and you've got a school-age kid and they're bringing home homework and you look at it and you're like, I don't know, that doesn't make sense to me. You can do the same thing. Hey, we'll just say, hey, my kid has homework with multiplying fractions, but I don't know how to help. Explain it to me. And you can even give a sample question. We'll do 3/4 times 2/3. And then it's going to give the breakdown for you so that you can help your kids understand it. Or you can use the same prompt the kids are. ChatGPT really doesn't care if you're a parent, student, or teacher. If you ask it something, it's going to teach you the same way until you start to modify the prompts to say, hey, I don't understand this, or hey, I need help with this, or I'm good with this part, but I need help with this specific part. You can do all that with prompt engineering, just by letting ChatGPT know exactly what you need. As you can see, it took that question I asked and it broke it down. And then I can say, hey, that's too complicated. Explain it better. So I can say, hey, that's too complicated. Explain it better. And then it'll give a better breakdown of exactly what's happening. It's going to give me a better breakdown of exactly what's happening and how to do that within ChatGPT. And now let's look at another one. So we'll say create a writing assignment from a seventh grade English class. They need to learn about citations. So then it'll create assignments for you. You can use it for a lot of different things. So then and then it's going to give you different topics here that they can choose from: the environmental impact of single use plastics, the effects of video games on youth. And another really cool thing for teachers is that if you were to, so not only can ChatGPT create assignments for you, it can also grade assignments. If I were to take like a PDF or a Word document of a kid's essay that they wrote, I could copy and paste it into ChatGPT and say, hey, grade this for me. So let's do this. Civil War post here. So I'm going to go back to, this is the Civil War post we did earlier that we rewrote. So I'm going to paste it into a new window. Say, grade this assignment. So it's going to tell me like, hey, great introduction, organizations well, good use of analogies. And then it's even going to say, hey, this is where you can improve the assignment at. It's going to tell me I'm missing citations. Could have been a little bit more in depth. The tone wasn't really balanced well. And if I were grading this, I would give it a B plus. It's well written and covers a lot of ground, but could benefit from deeper analysis, citations, and some minor edits for clarity and style. Overall, it's a strong essay with some room for refinement. So yeah, you can use it for grading assignments as well. So another cool trick with ChatGPT is have it create lesson plans. You can say, hey, I'm a teacher, but I'm out this week. Create a week of lesson plans for my 10th grade chemistry class. We're learning about pH and acidity. And it's given me a full breakdown of what we could do each day of the week. And obviously, you could modify this. You could say, hey, I don't want to do pH scale on day one, or whatever else you want to put in there. But you can use that as a tool or guideline just to sort of help you out in that regard. So something else you can do in ChatGPT is you can say, hey, I've got a student in my class. He's rude. He interrupts. He stops the other kids from learning. So we'll do that. And we'll say, create a friendly email to his parents to discuss. So if you don't want to word this out yourself, or you're not sure how to put it into words, you can use ChatGPT for writing emails for you for sort of the same thing. So what it's done here is it's created this email. It's also tried to propose a meeting time. You could also say, hey, ChatGPT, I don't want to meet with the kids' parents. I just want to let them know that there's some issues and we need to get them resolved because it's distracting other kids from their work. And it'll rewrite the email for you based on whatever you put in the chat box. Another fun thing you can do with ChatGPT, if you want to use it for something but you don't necessarily know how to use it, you could just say, hey, show me 5 ways teachers can use ChatGPT. Let's give them a breakdown. You could also say, I don't like those. Offer 25 other suggestions. And then it's just going to give me a list of 25 different things on how teachers could use ChatGPT. There's a lot of different things you can do with it. You just got to know how to talk to it. Over the last few weeks, I've got a handful of friends that are teaching in some capacity. One of the biggest issues that almost all of them had was kids not paying attention. And then when it comes time to do the work, they just have no idea exactly what's going on. I really think for teachers, Google Bard may be the best option because of the prompt sharing. I could create a prompt that says, hey, I'm a teacher, but I'm teaching my kids how to do fractions and multiplication, but I'm not sure they all understand it. So I want you to teach fractions at a very basic level. And then if I don't understand it, act as a one-on-one tutor. And then you could share that prompt with your entire class. So even if they weren't paying attention in school, it doesn't matter. Once they go there and they start working with the AI is going to sort of go at their pace. If they're not understanding, then it's going to slow down, make sure they understand. It's going to break it down to basic level. Once they start to understand, then it'll start to pick up the pace until it needs to slow down again. Hey, I hope you enjoyed the video. I think tools like Google Bard, ChatGPT, as far as like learning goes, they are some of the greatest tools that we've ever seen. They can act as an individual one-on-one tutor for your student. If you're a parent that doesn't understand a concept and you're trying to help your kid understand, it's a tool for you. If you're a teacher that has trouble with kids not paying attention in class and they're at home trying to figure out their homework, then they can use tools like ChatGPT or Google Bard to help make that process simpler. They can say, hey, we did this in class today, but I wasn't really paying attention. They can actually put that into the chat bot. Hey, I wasn't paying attention when we were taught this. Help me understand it. And it'll break it down and they can say, hey, that's too complicated. Let's break it down more. It's a great tool for students, a great tool for teachers. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed. This is just a small sample of what ChatGPT can do in the classroom. There's obviously so much more. We could prompt all day long on this. If you would like to get more prompt ideas, there's a link in below to my newsletter. Sign up for the newsletter. There's nothing spammy in there. I just share AI news and AI prompts. I've got one coming up with a ton of prompts for educators, students, and parents. So be sure to check that out. And once again, if you haven't done so yet, please hit that subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time.